Welcome everybody to another exciting episode of HomeKit Insider. This episode is brought to you by Zocdoc. Joining me here this week again, and a fun fact, I can't even believe that this is true. Hold on, I gotta have the producers fact check this. It is true? Okay. Apparently, he is the only Wesley Hilliard to join HomeKit Insider. I can't believe it. You're apparently the only one. Very exclusive club, but we did double check. It is true. It is true.
Do I get a trophy? Is there an award, like a HomeKit shaped house with my name on it?
I want like the house that Apple uses for all of its smart home demos.
I want a dollhouse that's just Apple's house. Actually, let's get that made.
It's literally just like some massive house built on a soundstage, but it also looks ridiculously nice. I'm like, I want that house. I want two of them, and I can put them together into a full house. How about that?
That's a Olsen twins reference. But I have returned. Fear not. I was not fired. I was away on vacation, and then various technical difficulties kept me away, I think, last week, and then I am here now. This is it. I've returned.
And oh man, what an episode to come back for. Holy smokes, folks. If we ever stop talking this episode, it's going to be a miracle. But we have so much stuff to even get through outside of the podcasting world with what's coming up next week. You know, we have, or this week rather, by the time you're listening to this, we have new iPads coming out. So a lot of prep work to be done. But we're going to talk about the new iPads real quick. We're going to get into some follow-ups from last week's episode. We have news for the week, big news, including the release of Matter 1.3 and all the stuff that entails. And then at the end, hands-on, that we're going to share with you guys. So much stuff to get through. Wes, let's start off. We're not going to get into the whole everything new with the iPads, because if you want to listen to that, you can go to the Apple Insider podcast where, they break all that stuff down.
We got into it heavily this week, very much so.
Well, there was two things that I didn't see that one, I didn't think was going to happen this early, but I was hoping. And then two was, I thought we would see it. So first up, I thought we would see Thread. It's baked into the newest iPhones. I thought it would go into the new iPads as well.
Yeah, as home hubs too. That you'd think that would make sense. Well, no, I suppose not. I'm dating myself. iPads are no longer home hubs. That's right.
Yeah, Apple has been pulling on that thread for a while, but it's not like your iPhone is a home hub, and yet it has Thread. So why would you not? Between smart widgets on your dashboard, just being able to have Thread Radio built in, I think would make sense. So I don't understand why it's not there, frankly, at least on the Pros, but it's not. The second thing that I'd hope to see, who knows what's going to happen in the future, guys, but there was rumors that we would see our first Wi-Fi 7 stuff from Apple possibly this fall, if not next year, but it was supposed to be maybe coming with the M4 chip or the M4 series. Technically could still come in the A series, the whatever it is, Wes, that we're on A18 Pro or something. That's still a possibility, but
I'm gonna make a call. Wi-Fi 7 no sooner than the next year's iPhone. I just can't see it this year. It's too soon, especially for Apple. They usually wait a couple of years on these things.
I think Apple will adopt this quicker than in the past. And the reason why is because Wi-Fi 7 is such a substantial update. This isn't even Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 6E. Wi-Fi 7 is a massive upgrade. I mean, the network performance and everything, the download speeds are bonkers. And I think Apple will embrace it sooner. But yeah, you're right. Next year's possibility. I didn't think it was going to come out this soon. I wasn't expecting that here. But when we got the M4, I thought maybe because Apple ties all of its chips together. But it sounds like they're working on their own Wi-Fi chip with Wi-Fi 7.
It's possible. It just, even chipsets aside, it just feels too soon. Nobody who owns even Wi-Fi 6 routers. I feel like there's still a lot of people out there with Wi-Fi 5 and earlier.
Because that's the point. Because Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E were negligible updates.
That's true.
So no one. It's hard for me to tell people to upgrade. I can tell people, buy a Wi-Fi 6 or 6E if your router craps out on you. But I'm not saying, you've only got a Wi-Fi 6 router. You really should upgrade to the latest Wi-Fi 6E. Get that additional 6 gigahertz bandwidth.
Yeah, pointless.
It's great if you're in a city and you're specifically dealing with issues related to network congestion with all of the, an apartment building in New York. Got it. But otherwise, meh.
Right.
Honestly, the biggest thing that I've seen is like, yes, my Wi-Fi 6E router network is super fast, but probably just because the processors in the routers themselves, not because of the 6E situation.
So to bring the iPads a little more home related, I have seen a few people online say that the ProMotion, because it only gets to 10 hertz variable refresh, that Apple may actually avoid introducing standby and other features like always on display for the iPad, which I'm not so sure. We'll have to see what happens with iPadOS 18. But that would definitely be a blow, because I really want that iPad Pro to have a standby like feature, and part of that is always on. It's because I think standby is coming. It's just standby is so much less useful if you can't leave the display running all the time. And that goes to the Home Hub, like put an iPad in a stand and turn it into a Siri device rumor. I think all these things are related, and maybe it's just not in the hardware software yet, but it'll be able to be turned on maybe via an update, not an iPadOS 18, and I'm hopeful for that.
Yeah, it's definitely something we've been hoping for. It makes sense. I would love to see some sort of always on display functionality here, or some sort of standby mode thing. Honestly, I loved on like some of the OG, like it was like at least on the first or second iPad, the docking where you'd put into the little frame and have a photo display coming up. It is nice and elegant, and Apple could do something similar like that now with the smart connector. You just automatically, there's a smart connector on the back, you put it into, a docking station that pick a third party wants to make, 12 South, Logitech, any of you guys can pop one of these out. 60 watts of power now, which is crazy. So you get super fast charging on this. Just set it in there and you're done. Have a smart display come up even with freaking photos, and I would like it. Or having Apple's assistant react to you. There's like a fly on my face. React and show like the results on the screen in a more display friendly way. I don't know. There's possibilities here. That 10 hertz is right on the question mark point of will or will they not.
It's I mean, I'm sure the 1 hertz versus 10 hertz is a big difference, big enough to say they can't do always on, because the 1 hertz refresh rate is what allows it, because the battery life impact is negligible. But it's a spec that may or may not be tied to hardware, because they have the ProMotion. I think they have the LPTO display that allows it to get to 1 hertz. Maybe it's just something they have to turn on, right? So, and if they shipped it now with it turned on, it would give away what was coming in June. So it could all just be related to that. We'll see.
I mean, this could make the iPads even more of a killer device if it's like exclusive to the new Pros.
I'm really excited
with iPadOS 18.
That 60 watt charging through the smart connector is really cool. We're so close. If they could get data, not necessarily Thunderbolt, just USB-C speeds through the smart connector, that would be really cool, because then we could get some really awesome seamless docks, I think. But right now it's still just power, which honestly is fine. If like I have a little desk in my bedroom, I'm going to put a little charging mount in there, and you just snap the iPad to it, have a keyboard below, and now you have like a whole workstation that's just an iPad, not without connecting any wires, no dongles, no dangles, nothing, just iPad and keyboard. And I think that's really smart. So definitely going to be doing that.
I agree with you on the data point. So we're getting way into the weeds on this. We have too much to talk about.
But, yes. Still home related. It is home related.
The reason that I wish they would do data more than anything is because it would make the Magic Keyboard more powerful, because that USB-C port on the Magic Keyboard could be used for other things. Because I would 100% leave that essentially leave that on my desk and plug in a drive or something and come down to snap my iPad and get power and hard drive connected to it and start working. I mean, Final Cut now can edit directly off of external drives. That's what I need. And I just snap my iPad into the little keyboard, and I've got that perfect little magnetic workstation. It'll be great. And I hate having to plug in that hard drive or SSD to the side of the iPad and let it dangle down.
Yeah, it's such an awkward place, but I honestly couldn't tell you where to put a USB port in this thing other than on the side, because you put it in the bottom and then it's in the way of the cantilever hinge. It just doesn't make sense anywhere else. But I will say Apple finally did it. They made an Apple Pencil Pro, and the only reason they called it Pro, I believe, is because they added Find My. Is that correct?
I mean, there's a ton of stuff new with the Apple Pencil. I really like it. My favorite feature is probably the haptics. To me, they've added haptic feedback now to the iPad. Like without ever putting it in the iPad, you now have haptics. Everything you do that would normally be like a tapping gesture on your phone, like that would tap you back, is now built into the pencil. So I think that's really cool.
Like. Imagine if now because I do not know this and I don't believe this is a feature, but imagine if they could do through software, they could imitate the texture of different types of material by like just a slow vibration as you use the pencil on the screen.
Like if it's on canvas and give you like a slight vibration as it goes.
Right, like make it feel like you're drawing with a certain kind of pen or pencil. Like make it glide more if it's a pen, but make it scratch more if it's a pencil, all through the motor. And Apple's really good at this haptic stuff. So, I mean, the Nintendo Switch came out in 2016, and it could make it feel like you were pouring a glass of water. So. Did you never try that demo? That one of the launch apps for Nintendo Switch let you pour a glass of water, and it felt like you were doing it. It's really funny.
No, I never tried it. Well, yeah, they have Find My support built in, and what I'm curious about is the level of Find My support, because that is a wide-ranging thing, and just because it can be tracked doesn't mean it includes all the other features. I mean, you have things like left behind alerts. Is it going to support those? Does it have I doubt it has ultra wideband tracking,
right.
But at the same time, we did see, M1 over at Apple Insider, he uncovered some code, right? Where you had to hold the iPad vertically to be able to track down your Apple Pencil, which is a really curious little.
So one of the example they showed during the keynote was a person sitting at a table, and they were like, yeah, it has Find My support. And then he's just shuffling through like clothes and a backpack. And I'm like, how are these related? It's like, yeah, of course, the pencil's on the table. That's not the problem. It's how do you find where it is on the table? You
didn't even move the iPad to figure out a direction or orientation.
It was such a weird example.
No speaker in this thing, so you can't make it audibly tell you where it exists.
Maybe it can vibrate.
Oh no. But I'm looking for left behind alerts, I think would be key. Yes. Because you go somewhere, like you just left it on the desk at the coffee shop as you're walking out. That is awesome to have. And I don't know if it's there. I really don't, because they haven't revealed any of those things. And we got those new Beats headphones, right? The Solo 4s, and they support Find My, but all they support is if they're connected in last known location.
I think this is going to work. It's very reminiscent of the MagSafe wallet Apple makes, where it is last location.
Oh gosh, it better not be that, because that's nothing.
It's nothing, and at the barest minimum, it'll be the Siri remote support, which I don't know if you've ever tried it. It gets you. It's better than knowing it's in the living room. It at least gets you within a few feet, so you're like, oh, is it in the couch or is it under the table? At least it gets you that close. But if it's that's fine. It's just
we know it's not more than we know it's more than the MagSafe wallet. Because it does have the move your iPad around to find it, which you can't do with MagSafe Wallet. So it's at least Apple TV remote capabilities, and we will find out this week if it goes any further.
Yep.
So I'm going to push us along, Wes, because we got too much to jump through. I'm not going to spend time on this really, but I just want to thank you guys. I had so many different suggestions for new features on an updated Apple TV. Everything from Apple launching like a dedicated FaceTime accessory so you don't have to use your phone, a dedicated like gaming one that specifically has a beefier processor, and wanting Apple to actually do some gaming stuff, maybe even their own gaming controller to go with it. I would love to see Apple's take on a controller. Their Taptic engines are so ridiculous. I feel like their iteration on essentially like kind of what they have in DualSense and a lot of the others, that precision tapping would be really cool. All sorts of things that you guys sent in. So I would love to see if you guys have any other suggestions. Let me know. Andrew at appleinsider.com. Twitter is Andrew_OSU, or in the comments on the video. All those places I will check for these things. And if I do a video, I will mention some of these things that you guys have thrown in.
I think Apple TV just needs an M series chip, and I mean, honestly, that's it. Do that, and it'll support the games it needs to support. If we get an Apple TV with an M3 processor, and I know that's an Apple Insider discussion, but the M3 I think is something Apple's trying to get away from. So, gosh, even an M4, Just give us that series with the new GPU generation, and man, the Apple TV would fly, and that would be so cool for video games and stuff on the TV.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest problem is going to be actually having games to play on it. But again, I'll leave that to you guys over at Apple Insider to get into more in the weeds. So last week's episode, another follow-up before we get into the news is quing. I'm not sure how you guys want to pronounce this. But I talked about them. These were available on Aliexpress as really affordable HomeKit sensors. And several of you have tried these, which is great. So Rez Landau on Twitter, they said they were using a couple of the old temperature humidity sensors with Bluetooth Low Energy without thread. They're working well. They're automated. They're using them in automations. Battery lasts about 6 months. They don't know, obviously, if a thread one would last longer. That they say the battery ones last like a year. But we'd have to test that for like a year to find out.
Right.
We also had Dan from Consumer Reports saying that he tested them over there, and I don't subscribe to Consumer Reports, so I could not read the whole in-depth article. So I assume it wasn't bad, or he would have warned me. But I do have that link in the show notes if you guys want to learn more about them, because they tested them over there. But to me, this makes them more legit. So I would definitely be open to trying these out. They sound like they are a good, affordable sensors to try to add to your setup. So you guys can check those out.
Yeah, cheaper than a HomePod anyway.
Right?
Yeah.
So going into to the news, Sonos. Sonos has a new app. We talked about it. It came out on May 7th. Reviews have not been stellar. They have arguably been toilet water. For many different reasons. The pulling a quote from the article from The Verge, they say customers complain about missing features like sleep timers, broken local music library management, and no longer having the ability to edit playlists or edit the upcoming song queue. Those sound, because I was going to say, I have not had any issues with it. And I'm like, man, I wonder why everyone is so angry. But I also don't use many of those things. I don't use their sleep timers. I don't use like the local library management. I just like AirPlay from my stuff. So I've never had those problems before, but it sounds like it's not going great. It sounds like there's a lot of people who are
power user features. Yeah.
Yes. Which, I mean,
the question is, are they coming back or are they gone forever? Right? Like, is this a change in direction for Sonos, or did they update the app architecture and forget to include all the features? Like, what? I just wonder what's happening here.
My guess, so I think they're going to come back. I think there's like an overhaul, and like, okay, we're not going to be able to get all the new features in, so we'll have to add more eventually. So right now they're like missing, and then I'm guessing they're going to come back. Just like they actually removed accessibility features for the visually impaired. Those were pulled out, and they said they hope to have those added back by the end of the month. But for a lot of people, this was a step backwards. So if you live in the Sonos app, maybe turn off auto update if your app has not already updated, and hang on for some other updates coming down the line.
This is part of the reason why, not specifically this app update, obviously, but this is Sonos's reliance on the app and how the ecosystem interactions are mostly through a third-party interface. That's part of the reason why I left Sonos. Like the speakers are amazing, and their connection over Wi-Fi, the whole home audio, all that worked great. That wasn't the issue. It was, I felt like I was in too many ecosystems to listen to audio. So I consolidated to just Apple. I know not everyone can do that or has the desire to, but it's always annoying when you have a steward in control of your home experience, and all it takes is one decision to upend whatever you're doing in your house. And I don't like that. And Apple at least seems less volatile. Of course, they could upend how my HomePods work at any point, but I don't see them doing that either. They're very specifically built for AirPlay, HomeKit type devices, and that's not going to change. Whereas Sonos can just overnight decide, well, we're going to implement GPT commands or something, and just completely change how the entire app works or something.
I guess, but I like as an Apple user first, I don't ever really use the Sonos app at all. I pop in there when I need to make changes, like grouping them together. I like being able to change the different modes. So like the night mode with the low bass response, so it's not rumbling the house, as well as like audio enhanced mode. Like I can turn those on a per speaker level, which you can't even do on HomePods other than when you have them paired to the Apple TV. So I like having all that. I don't ever use like the direct streaming stuff. I just cast using AirPlay. So I use
So
Apple Music and whatever else and just cast it there. I don't
I have
have
a
to worry
question.
at all about Sonos at all. And as much as Apple has like, the HomePods, they don't have a sound bar, and I still don't like using HomePods for that.
Right.
And they don't have a portable speaker unless the people who bought that little base for HomePod Mini that coils the
I have it.
USB-C port into a
It's
battery.
so good.
I
So
prefer
worth
the
it.
Move 2 or the
Yes,
Roam, and
of course.
both of those work on AirPlay too. So I can go out in the yard anytime, pull that thing up off the stand. It's inside as a smart speaker. I use it all the time as an interior speaker, and then just pick it up off the handle, take it outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's UV
Well, now I
resistant,
have two
water
questions.
resistant, battery. Yeah.
So first question is, Sonos is AirPlay compatible, and do you use the AirPlay options in the Home app? Like, do you go to a room, select a speaker, and see what's playing on that ever? Is that ever an interface that you use, or is it always through the
No,
control center?
always through Control Center.
Okay. And my second question is, we know that the Beats Pill Plus, whatever they're going to call it, Beats Pill Ultra Portable, is going to be coming at some point soon. Famous people are carrying it around on Instagram. It's happening. Do you think it'll still be $200? Because the last time Beats came out, it was pre HomePod Mini. I don't even know. Yeah, it was pre HomePod, I think, even, because this is like a 2015 device, and it got discontinued in 2020. The thing was like $220 at launch. It was frequently on sale. You could get it for like $180. Eventually, it got down to like $120 on sale. But again, $220 device at launch. Do you think they're going to launch a $200 plus Beats portable Bluetooth speaker, or do you think it would be worth $200 if they included AirPlay support and a battery operated speaker?
My guess is they're going to go like $149.99, hit it a little bit below, but basically they're like, oh, it's like your HomePod, but it's portable.
Do you think it'll have
And
Siri support?
I don't think so. I don't think
Beats
they're going
is
to, I don't
such an
think they're going
odd
to do,
company. Yeah. It's
yeah,
Apple,
like,
but it's Beats. They're their own thing.
yeah. I mean, the biggest thing is like it's all the Apple tech, but
Right.
they work primarily on making it platform agnostic, which is great.
Yeah. This is an interesting product to me. I think I'll buy it. I like my HomePod on a little thing, but a purpose built portable speaker that's probably easier to fit in a backpack, I think would work for me. So I'm in the market. I just want to see what it does and how much it costs for sure.
It'll be interesting if they change anything other than updated internals. Like, are they
Right.
going to, I mean, it looked pretty darn
USB-C instead of
similar. There's a
Lightning.
lanyard on the side and USB-C. Like, cool. You guys waited, what, 2 years, 4 years, whatever it's been, to introduce that.
It's
It
wild
just
to me
seems...
that the original had a Lightning connector for this. Anyway, that's so funny to me that Apple briefly tried to put all of Beats audio onto Lightning, and then immediately next generation, yes, 5 years later, put it on USB-C. Lightning was so short-lived on Beats products. I just find it very funny.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's go ahead and take our first break for the episode. I mentioned them at the top of the episode, but before we get into one of our favorite companies going under, before we get into Matter and 1.3 update, as well as a hands-on, if we have time for all that, because we're already 20 minutes in, let's thank the sponsor. You guys know him. We've talked about him before. It is Zocdoc. Zocdoc is amazing. It is a free app that you can go to find a doctor that helps you with whatever it is that you need. Whether you want to go into an appointment, whether you want to do a telehealth appointment, you can do all of that with Zocdoc. On top of that, you can see actual reviews from real patients about these doctors. So you can find one that fits you, your personality, your needs, and you know that they are going to be a good doctor when you actually get in there and see them. And the best part of all of it is they take your insurance. You can actually put in your insurance ahead of time and find doctors that will take your insurance, so you don't end up like booking an appointment, waiting weeks, driving to a doctor's office, going in only to find out that we don't accept your insurance. Like, you don't want to do that. No one wants to deal with that. So that's why you should try Zocdoc. If you have not tried it already, I absolutely recommend it. I've used it. My wife has used it. We'll probably end up using it with our kid because it's just easier that way. I cannot say enough nice things about Zocdoc. Have you ever tried Zocdoc, Wes?
No, I sold my soul to the military, so I have a very different medical requirement system. So if I could do Zocdoc with military coverage, that would be interesting. But no, I have not tried it. But I've heard it's really, really nice.
honestly, all their commercials are also hilarious. Not like I should promote other commercials that aren't this one, but they're great. So Zocdoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare highly rated in-network doctors near you and instantly book appointments with them online. So these are all verified reviews from actual real patients, tens of thousands top-rated patient review, credible doctors and specialists, all these amazing things. So here's what you guys can do. So go to Zocdoc.com/HKI and download the Zocdoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That is ZocDoc.com/HKI. Zocdoc.com/HKI. Thank you, as always, to Zocdoc for sponsoring this episode. So, actually, I forgot this little bit of news. We're just going to throw it here. There's a new HueMenu bar app. So if you use Hue lights, which I have some of those, I'll maybe mention in the next episode. If you use Hue, there's a new Mac menu bar application that's launched. It's really nice. I do like it. So you guys can check that out. There's a link for it in the show notes. So Wes, this hurts my heart. This hurts my heart.
It's really sad.
Brilliant. They make those smart wall controllers has gone belly up.
Yeah.
They are in a phase of liquidation. If you have their products, what it means is your products will still continue to work. They're in a low maintenance mode at the moment where they've laid off basically most of their staff, but they're still running their servers and everything like that. So the products will continue to work. They hope the products will continue to work indefinitely, and everything is being sold to some new buyer that has the potential to keep everything open and running and going as normal, or they could just, buy it for parts and dissolve everything. But I am very bummed. Aaron, their CEO, is one of my favorite people, and I love talking to him every year. And I kept hoping and waiting for the Matter update to come out, because that would have been a game changer, to have a wall-mounted controller that would control all of your HomeKit products. And that would ideally have been what it was, because it could be a physical remote for anything that was in Matter. So
if
lot of stuff in my home.
If Matter existed when they launched, I feel like they would be in much better health than they are today. But it is a tough sell in the market we were in the last 4 years to buy a $200 to $400 wall switch that doesn't operate with everything in your home, at least not guaranteed to anyway. Whereas Matter would have at least given you some variability, some options to control a little bit more of everything. And Apple's ecosystem being so closed down, not being able to integrate Apple Music properly, stuff like that. Just so many things that prevented this from being such an excellent product. And it's unfortunate that they had to go under, but hopefully someone steps in their place and comes up with a way to do this, because I want to have physical panel switches for people who don't have access to my smart home.
Yeah. So Aaron Emig, their CEO, he says, everything is still working. Everything is still being monitored. It's my hope and expectation that customers won't notice anything different as we transition to new ownership. So I believe that's what they said last week. Everything is still kind of going. Hopefully things happen, but we don't know. I'll keep you guys updated as we know more. But this is the part that kills me from all of this, Wes, other than the fact they're going under. They apparently had a cheaper, better, more powerful next generation device ready to roll out and start selling. 4 times the processing power, AI processor for edge control and video analysis on device. Cool. Are you kidding me? Better device with all this improvements, and it was cheaper, and they just ran out of runway to sell it.
Yeah. They should have said it was powered by brilliant AI, and maybe they'd have gotten millions of dollars in VC funds, right?
Oh, right. That's basically
that's where we are with Silicon Valley at the moment, anyway.
Yeah, so not much here else to cover. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, you have Brilliant installed in your home, right?
Yeah, I've got like 4 of them around the home, and I love them. They're absolutely phenomenal.
Are you going to try to keep
nice
them?
Little things.
Are you going to try to keep them going, or are you going to just switch them out for something else? What are you thinking?
Absolutely keep them running for now. There's no reason not to. Everything is still working. Like, I haven't noticed any different in functionality. And let's talk about this for a moment. This is why things like HomeKit rock, because as far as I'm concerned, I will never have a problem with these switches. I can leave them in my wall and control them with HomeKit just as I am now. Everything is local. I'm not reliant on anything from the cloud. And even if all their servers go offline, all of my HomeKit stuff should still work as is. Now you lose the functionality with the third party stuff. And anything that, I don't know if it goes through third party servers, if you're like, tying into Amazon or because there's like August connection and a Sonos connection and all of those you may have issues with over time, but my stuff HomeKit wise is good as gold until I decide to take them out.
People might be thinking, okay, I've seen this happen before with other brands. Maybe it means I need to be more cautious when I purchase products. And that's somewhat true, but I'll definitely say when you're looking at HomeKit products, pay attention to how they operate. If they're server-based heavy, they're HomeKit glorified in name only and don't really actually communicate with HomeKit properly, sure, if that business goes under, that thing's not going to work anymore. But you look at something like various switches from Aqara or Hue's little magnetically mountable wall switch with 4 buttons that you can program in HomeKit. Hue could go out of business tomorrow and that thing will work for the rest of eternity because that thing is indestructible. Its battery lasts forever and you can program the buttons manually in shortcuts or home. It's really, really cool. As products like that are everywhere in Apple HomeKit just because of the way Apple built the ecosystem. And I like that brilliant, they basically built, yes, they have a lot of API attachments, but underneath all of that, it's still just a switch that works. It doesn't need server access to control your lights, and that's nice. So, like you said, as long as, for whatever reason, Apple doesn't change a protocol and there's no one on the other end to update the brilliant switches or whatever, as long as things stay as they are today, it should continue to be an operable product inside of the HomeKit ecosystem. So that's nice.
Yeah. So hopefully they find a new owner or something. Like obviously they're in liquidation at that point. So like there was supposed to be new ownership going on that fell through. Now they're in liquidation, but hopefully whoever buys them sees the value in the product and next generation products are ready to go and maybe does something different, but I don't know. Can't promise anything. Let's talk about Matter since that's the whole big thing. Before we do, we should take one more break, get this out of the way. Honestly, just another one. We have the best freaking sponsors on this show. I love them. I just planted mine. It is Fast Growing Trees, fastgrowingtrees.com. Did you know Fast Growing Trees is the biggest online nursery in the U.S. with more than 10,000 different kinds of plants and over 2 million happy customers in the U.S. They have everything you could possibly want, like fruit trees, palm trees, evergreens, houseplants, and so much more. Whatever you're interested in, they have it for you. Find the perfect fit for your climate and space. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to order online, and your plants are shipped directly to your door in 1 to 2 days. And along with their 30-day Alive and Thrive guarantee, they offer free plant consultation forever. I ordered 3 trees from them, as well as a lemonade blueberry bush, like a month or 2 ago, and they waited to ship them until the climate was right where I am, like based on your zone and shipping address. So they even took care of that part for you. Then they showed up, and as the guy was unloading them from the delivery truck, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm very excited for these trees that I got." He's like, "Man, I've been delivering so many of these," which I also thought was crazy. Like I had no idea. I'd never heard of this company before like 6 months ago, and then next thing I know, he's like, "Oh yeah, we deliver these things everywhere all the time," which was also great to see. So all 3 of my trees are doing wonderful so far, and my apple tree is a 5-in-1 apple tree. It has a 1 apple tree that produces 5 different types of apples. I got Fuji, cool. I got Granny Smith, Gala, Pink Lady, and some other 5th one that I don't remember. But
it's a surprise.
Yeah, they're labeled on the stem, so I can see what they are. I just don't remember off the top of my head. But it's in the ground, and they even have these like root boosters that you can like put in the ground first, and then you put in your tree, and then it like helps the roots really take hold. So I finally planted mine right before these last couple of rainstorms, so hopefully they're going to do really well. But I've got apples on them already. The other 2 trees I got were cherry trees, and I feel like I won't get much from them this year, but maybe next year, lots of cherries. So I'm beyond excited about using them. They just showed up in boxes. Everything looked perfect in there. They did such a good job. So if you guys have not tried them before, I advise you to check them out. There's a link to them in the show notes. I think there might be a discount associated with, but I didn't see it here in the actual read here. So yeah, I hope there's a lot of discounts they usually have going on. So go ahead, check that out at the link in the show notes. Okay,
Yep.
Wes, here's the big one. We got Matter 1.3. And I have opinions, I have thoughts, but let's get out of the way first. Everything that's included in here. So many new device categories: electric vehicle chargers, water controllers. Now, water controllers also includes things like leak sensors. So you have faucets, you have spigots, you have leak sensors, water detectors. All of those are included in there. You've got microwave.
Smart valves. Yeah.
Yes, smart valves, ovens, cooktops, extractor hoods. And they even they actually built in a lot more than I even thought they would. For things like an extractor hood, not only do you have like the fan control, but you have things like the oven light as well, or the cover light. Like
I honestly,
the built-in lights for that.
I never even thought about an extractor hood being part of HomeKit, but my girlfriend loves leaving the light on in the kitchen, and I've thought about it either unwiring it on purpose just to be mean, or to somehow get it attached to HomeKit, because I want all the lights off at night. That's just me. I don't know. That's just what I do. But yes, having that all programmed into HomeKit would be really cool. Like you could set a cooking scene and have the fan turn on a certain speed and have the lights turn on, and then when you're done cooking, it would all turn off. That's really cool. I like that.
I mean, you could have basic ones like I turned on the cooktop, so turn on the fan to like the lowest level. And then you could always just be like, hey, turn on the extractor fan to 100% for the next 30 minutes. Because that's like you can now do these delayed commands. So you could do that through there. You could also create a scene where it detects poor air quality and turns that on. Because that's what I do with my air purifiers right now. And I'd love if the hood fan would just come on too, but it doesn't. Now you can with Matter.
Laundry dryers. So did we have washers before, or we just still don't have washers?
No, washers came out in Matter 1.2 and notably did not include dryers.
Right. So I knew one was missing. I just couldn't remember where. Yeah.
Yeah, you could wash your clothes with Matter, but you could not dry them. So now you can. And this is probably a good thing because we had 0 washers that had even been announced. I don't think that supported it. I mean, when half of the setup didn't work.
I feel like Samsung would definitely be the company, like, because they at least have the smart things home stuff. So I feel like that is something that could eventually happen, because I know people are usually like, where are all these appliances? They're probably in the pipeline. The spec has to come out. Sometimes it can take a couple of years before we see anything, but I'm excited to see that it at least exists and that this could eventually make it to HomeKit. And if you're wondering, well, if I have to go up to the thing and put the food in, or I have to go up to the thing and load the laundry, why not just, have it, just turn the switch myself? Well, I just thought of a situation. My washer and dryer are directly below my office. And if I'm about to do a podcast and someone decides to start a load of laundry, it'd be nice if I could just pause that for a moment, do the podcast, and then have it resume afterwards. Stuff like that. You just never think of, but you could have all this tied to scenes and make it really cool, or have it load up a load, but set a HomeKit scene to say, okay, at 3 a.m. run the wash if there's clothes inside of it. That kind of stuff like that. That would be really cool.
Yeah. And there's also, it's not just, starting it or controlling it, but it's also notifications after the fact.
Hey, this is done. So being able
to get an alert that your laundry is done, which is what I have now via SmartThings.
But
now another change in Matter is new casting changes for TVs. So now they actually did build in support for notifications on TVs. So if you have a TV that supports Matter, any of your Matter accessories can now send alerts to your TV.
I was about to say, like, imagine you're popping popcorn in your Matter enabled microwave and it comes up on your TV to tell you that it's done, right? How silly, but how fun is that? That's fun.
That would be great. So other things like the EV chargers, you can actually choose things like the charging rate, when or how long that you wanted to charge, and you could even set an expected departure time. So when you want to do it. This can also go around, clean energy. So you could only charge when you have energy that's more affordable, or that's using green energy. All that stuff you can change.
This is
freeze detectors are part of water, so that's great. Microwaves have power levels, mode operations, ovens you can change from like broil to convection, all of that stuff. Oh, so much stuff.
Yeah, this is something I brought up before. I think EVs make a lot of sense, but I just want everything in Matter HomeKit just because I would love to open the Home app and see. I don't have an electric vehicle now, but I plan to. I'd love to see like my vehicle charge level, like a little picture of the car, like, next to the cameras, next to the temperature sensors. Hey, your garage is really hot. Maybe you should get it down to a certain level before you charge your car, that kind of stuff. I want to see my electric toothbrush's battery level in HomeKit. You know what I mean? Like I want everything. I want this to be a smart view for my home. And there's so much more to the home than light bulbs and air conditioning. And I'm glad that Matter is finally getting us there. One little baby step at a time, but now it's Apple's turn, I think. Am I correct? Like this, now that this spec exists, could Apple technically say, hey, we support Matter 1.3?
Yeah, so that's the thing. That's the rub. As exciting as this is, we still don't have support for Matter 1.2. So Matter 1.2 came out about 6 months ago. And I think Matter, if I recall, is on like a biannual update. So there was like there was an update last May. There's now an update this May. There was an update last fall, which means we're supposed to get, Matter 1.4 will come out this fall. If Apple doesn't incorporate Matter 1.2 until iOS 18 this fall,
there's still 2 versions behind.
That means Apple is taking a year to implement one software update, and there's been essentially 2 announced since then. If we wait one more year, they're going to be like 3 software updates behind.
It doesn't make sense. I understand Apple's how they do software. They announce it in the spring and give us the betas, but by the time they've announced it in the spring, there's another team working on a version that will be finalized in December that'll be announced the following spring. So they're working in tandem continuously. Matters being announced constantly throughout the year. So if they're finalized the OS version in December, that means that right now iOS 18 would only have, like you said, 1.2. And by the end of this year, iOS 19, if it's being finalized in December, might have 1.4. So but by the time that comes out, we'll be on Matter 1.6, right? So it's a little frustrating at how Apple seems to only be able to release things in June. And I don't know where this is coming from as far as this perspective. I don't think there's no reason why Apple shouldn't be able to update Matter and HomeKit throughout the year and point updates but is it sometimes, like we've made the joke before, sometimes it really does feel like Apple has one guy and he can only focus on one job at a time. And right now it isn't Matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because Apple is part of the CSA. Apple is actively working on developing Matter at the CSA. Like when the CSA comes out and says, hey, we got Matter 1.3, Apple did that. They were part of the people that made that. They specifically made that thing. And then it's not like they're going to support it in their own app for a whole year. I really thought we would see it in 17.4 or in 17.5 that drops this week, and it's not there.
If I had one real, just change anything about Apple that it would solve so many problems, it's this one. It's stop tying everything to the operating system update. Apple Music, Maps, Photos, Messages, every core app for some reason is tied to operating system. Have a HomeKit thing that can be pushed separately. Everyone else on the planet does this. Their apps, they have an app store, push an update through the operating system and have HomeKit version blah inside of iOS version blah. They don't have to be tied to each other, but for Apple, for some reason, everything is tied together. And I think we're increasingly see the weakness of that. I understand the strengths of that. It gives Apple the ability to hype up the releases more. WWDC becomes more of an event. It's just, maybe the spectacle is getting in the way of usability, and something's got to give here.
Yeah, they have to figure something out because they're just going to end up way too far behind. And now that I talked about this in last week's episode, so I ranted long enough about it, but the biggest thing is like, this is confusing for customers even more. It's like Apple can say, we support Matter, and Matter's like, we're Matter. Here's the newest version of it.
Yeah.
And then there's products that are like, look, we support Matter. Mm-hmm. And you're like, cool, I bought a product that supports Matter and I have a Matter home. They work together. And it's like, no.
Yep. Remember how we all hate the USB-C connector? It's the same problem. It's I have a USB-C connector. Okay, which version is it? What do you mean? It's a connector. It fits, right? Yeah, but that's only like 1/4 of the story. You need to know what it can do, what it connects to. You just no. And here we are all over again. We added Matter because it's supposed to simplify everything, and it's one more thing we have to follow now. One more spec to keep up with. And you know what? I have the perfect idea, Andrew. I've just thought of it. We should come up with another spec that tells Matter when to update so it's in sync with HomeKit, right? Just make it's all better. One more spec, right? That'll fix everything.
I mean, Matter 1.1 came out and it wasn't any new device categories, but it did fix some stability stuff. And I don't even know if Apple Home supports Matter 1.1.
It's just, it is frustrating as a user. I know we get hit sometimes as being negative Nancy's, but this stuff, it feels like it's an obvious fix. And I know there are people inside Apple who are just as frustrated as we are because they want things to change. But it is definitely a higher level decision to say, no, things work this way. This is how we're going to do it. And you're just going to have to figure out how to deal with it. So this is the place that we're in. And maybe June could give us some surprises. All this stuff with, artificial intelligence and everything, is it going to be a big part of WWDC? But I think because of Apple's, we discussed it before, they left the car behind, that only leaves the home. And Apple, that was one of their core tenets of, we want to be really important in the home, so prove it. You have to show it, or else people are going to start shifting to other ecosystems that support the things that Apple is not supporting. Yep. Simple as that.
A couple other improvements in Matter 1.3: energy management, which reports power, voltage, current, other real-time consumption or generation metrics. So if you have a whole home power station, you've got Eve smart plugs that are reporting how much you're drawing power wise from those. All that can be reported now to Matter. They've standardized scenes across platforms, so every kind of manufacturer was doing their own thing with scenes, and now scenes are standardized through Matter. Command batching to reduce relays. So if you put out a bunch of commands all at once, Apple fixed this specifically within the Apple Home ecosystem. Now it's coming to Matter. So I wonder if this is based off of Apple's batching that they did with that new HomeKit architecture they introduced like last year or whatever. There's improved network commissioning. This will help with things like 2, 4, 5, 6 gigahertz networks and what your smart home stuff connects to. So all of that. And then event timestamp synchronization amongst accessories. So pretty cool stuff. Huge updates here.
It's all very exciting. Like looking at this electrical stuff, because I was formerly an electrician, so I guess it's in my wheelhouse, but I really like the idea that there is a potential future where I'll be able to open up the Home app and see, here's what the grid's doing. So an automation ran to connect you to your power backup. Your power backup is at 50%, and it will switch back to grid power once it reaches 25% to recharge. And here's your car battery level. And on top of that, like your TV's running on this outlet, but we ran an automation because we saw the TV was idled because that TV's also part of Matter and we turned it off. Like there's just so much of this could be really cool. And it's right up Apple's alley because they're all about green and green energy. And this giving people control over their home on an unprecedented level as far as power management, water management, all of this stuff goes straight up the Mother Nature ad thing that Apple did of just, we're here to save the planet kind of attitude. So give the users the control, and Matter is showing us that that's kind of the direction we're going. So I can only hope and expect that Apple is actually going to pull this off. I can't wait to see what that looks like. I can't wait to see Apple Home integrate all of this because we already see the clean energy detector in Home. It's a big empty screen. There could be so much cool information in there and so many automations run from that. And the potential's there maybe this fall. They're really heavy on the green stuff right now, and they kind of flubbed the replacing leather kind of situation. So maybe they can regain their footing with this.
A little bit. Okay, so we're gonna round this out with a hands-on. I had seen so many people talk about these, and my uncle had one and he loved it. My brother has one. Like, I know all these people who have them and really like them. And what finally sold me, Wes, was they actually just launched new MagSafe enabled versions.
That was what I was wondering. I've seen Ridge everywhere. That was the thing keeping me from even investigating it, is like, the concept is cool. Where's the MagSafe?
Absolutely. So I've got the new Ridge MagSafe wallet right here. If you're watching the video, you can see it this time. I'm holding it in my hand. So yeah, I have like the blue one, which I think looks really sharp.
I like the blue.
It's like this electric blue. It looks really sweet. But your MagSafe stuff on the back. So you got your iPhone, put it there. And yeah, you got your wallet right on the back of the phone.
So how's the thickness? So compare this to other wallets. Where are we on the scale?
So I'm holding up on the video, I'm holding up my second wallet, which I've been using, which is my the Journey Halo wallet or whatever. And they're actually very similar in terms of size, but there's two differences, and here's where you guys got to pick your trade-off. So the Journey one, the Journey Locate wallet, it'll hold 3 cards in the pocket, and then you got spots for 2 more cards on the inside, and has built-in Find My tracking.
Right.
The Ridge wallet, it'll hold up to 12 cards on the inside.
Right.
And there's a cash strap too. So you can do cash on the outside and then up to 12 cards on the inside. Pretty cool.
Journey has, and other companies do, this little tracker card that may be the thickness of maybe 2 credit cards. So if it holds 12 cards, maybe take up a couple of slots, putting a tracker in the Ridge wallet and kind of take care of that as well. Not have it tied. See, hey, you gotta, what we got here?
So I'm holding up 2 different Ridge accessories. They have a money clip. I don't know why nothing is focusing. It's like I'm using
money clip
some sort of central stage. He's like, this should be like in focus, Wes. It's like blurring out everything that's not my head.
Specifically blurring out what
like
you're holding.
Center stage is on or something. I don't even know, but I'm using like my Nikon. But they have a money clip that clips on, because these things are like modular. They've got all these like hex screws down the sides. They come with a little screwdriver, remove them, and you can put on a money clip that also it has an AirTag holder. Or you can replace the strap that's on the back of this, you can replace with an AirTag holder. So you can add AirTags to this, which gives you Find My, and compared to the Locate wallet or the ESR Halo wallet, or Halo Lock wallet, whatever it is, AirTags have like your precision finding. So that's technically a little better, even though you're going to have to pay more for it. But like Wes said, right here, if I press out, it's got a little thumb spot that you can press to remove your card. So you just press that in and your cards slide out the other side. I have right here, this is the one from Pebblebee, actually.
Oh, nice.
But there's some for many people. This is the Pebblebee Find My tracker. It's insanely light. There's also AirCard that you could check out. I like those a lot. There's even AirCard Pro that's pretty sweet. There is Chipolo. Big fans of theirs. So there's the Chipolo one out there. But all those. So you could use those instead, and then they just go right inside. Personally, I lean towards the Find My card versus the AirTag.
You're adding some bulk with the AirTag, for sure.
Exactly. You're never going to get away from that added bulk. It's nice that it has like the precision finding and all of that. I'm still going to play around and see which one I for sure like better, but I'm leaning towards the cards.
The perfect,
I've described it. The card.
I've described it before. The perfect wallet for me, right now, I can show you, is the Locate wallet, but just cut this guy off, and it be just the card guy, and then inside of it, I don't even need a pocket. Like on this side, I'm in the wrong side. This side, the MagSafe side, right, has a battery for the Find My and everything. Just stick it all in one little thin container, have slots on either side not even either side because you need MagSafe, have slots on one side, the 1-2 cuts, so I can have my driver's license and Apple Card. The other side just MagSafe, and internally have the little Find My battery, and that's it. No one has made this yet, and we're so close. But I feel like we could do it with a very relatively thin thing. It's just no. I don't know what it has to have a kickstand, or it has to have a strap or a thing, or it's just nobody's done it yet.
That's my downside to the Ridge, is I kind of miss the kickstand.
Yeah, you like
I've had this on here. I'm like,
I kind of use the kickstand. It's nice.
Can I prop this up somehow? I cannot. Like, I want the kickstand. I really do. And honestly, I would put a Find My card in the Ridge wallet, and then instead of like the money clip, I would put on a kickstand that could pop out, and I would 100%. That's my only downside to this, is I miss the kickstand on here. I really wish I had a kickstand, but these are really cool. They also have nice for people. So mounting wise, it's decent. Like, it holds well enough. It holds well enough for me. This is how I'm going to keep mine, just directly on my phone, or if I'm using a case. But it's not like the strongest in the world. Like, it still comes off decently easy. Sure. They have a way around that. They sell, or not sell, but this comes with the wallet. It's this card with a 3M adhesive on the back, and this goes like on your phone, pew pew pew, or on your case, and then this has like it holds right in there. It's like mounted right there, and then it extra magnets basically.
It's just the thing that's always been the iPhone magnet, for whatever reason, is just not quite as strong as. You have to go through the glass, right, for the magnet. It's just too much between the magnet and the thing that it's holding. So anytime, if you've ever used a case, I'm sure most people do use cases on their phones, you'll notice a better grip, especially if it's like a leather case or something with a little bit of texture. The MagSafe thing is going to stick much better. I've actually found a good in-between. I mentioned it before. I have the Nomad leather like magnet skin thing that's just the back of the phone. That's this little leather thing. Perfect, because it attaches to MagSafe so strongly, to wallets perfectly, and it's not a giant case on my phone. So definitely liking that. But the little adhesive sticker thing's really cool too. It improves the problem that iPhones have anyway.
Yeah, so very neat. I like this a lot. I'll have a full review up on Apple Insider at some point here, but I'm quite impressed. Like, build quality is great. I love the blue. I also have a green one that looks also super awesome. I have looked at these wallets for so long, and I go to a lot of like these adventure stores. Like, we'll be up in Michigan, basically just hiding like Ohio State stickers on things, spare things that people do. But we'll be like at the lake house, and I'll go to like all these like outdoor shops and biking shops, and they always have Ridge wallets at the checkout. I'm like, they look really cool. But I really want one that goes on my phone.
I'm a sucker for gadgets. I love finding new little things. Like, I'm always at a constant battle of, I want my pockets to be empty, but I also want all the toys. So how do I reconcile that? It's impossible. I bought an AirTag wallet from Pitaka, or not a wallet, a lighter, an electric, one of those little electric like start lighters with the, it still takes fuel, but it uses like the, anyway, it's one of those lighters with an AirTag pocket in it. Perfect.
Hey, if they made one with built-in Find My, I would have bought it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, no, I just think that kind of stuff is fun. I don't even smoke. I just thought it was cool that it was just no, I've never seen anyone make a lighter out of this stuff before. Anyone out there listening know of any cool just tech gadgetry adjacent things? I always love to hear about it, because I feel like so many of these companies just fly under the radar, and it takes them either offering like a sponsorship or us discovering it through some other means, like a podcast or article, to find them. And it's just like, where have you been this whole time? Why didn't I know about you before?
It would be that this is very niche to someone who's a parent, but there needs to be some sort of AirTag attachment for toddler cups.
Cute. Yeah.
He literally, like, I couldn't find one today. So Faith just goes and gets him another cup, and we ended up finding it inside of our island cabinet. He had opened it up and put it in there with the pots and pans. And like, if it's milk, it is not going to smell great when you do find it. So like, I'm like, I need a way to attach an AirTag, and I can't put it on I can't like attach it somehow to every cup. Like, I need like I don't know.
Tangents and tangents. I'm still upset that my hydrate water bottle doesn't have Find My capabilities.
Well, hold on.
They have
is the brand Hydrate?
Isn't it?
Or is it Hydro
Spark?
Flask?
Hydrate Spark is the full name. Sorry. Hydrate Spark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They have a find function in their app that's Bluetooth related, but like, come on. You're one step away. Just give me a Bluetooth disconnected here button in Find My or something. I don't know, but more things with Find My. Just do it, guys. It's out there. Apple made it available. Put it in everything. Put it in my shoes. I don't care. Just let me find all the things and Find My. It's fun. I just find it entertaining.
Because they actually do sell a Hydro Flask tracker if you have a Hydro Flask.
I don't have Hydro Flask, yeah.
Yeah, me either. I'm more of a Yeti guy, so all of our water bottles are Yeti.
I've seen
this won't work with those.
Etsy people have figured out that they can make lids, like straw lids for different water bottles that have AirTag compartments. Now that's clever. I like that. Get a sippy cup AirTag compartment and you'll be good to go.
I'm quickly Googling just because I'm curious. So this one works with Stanley. Looks like a lot of these are knocked off of the Nomad one.
That's funny.
Oh, this is interesting. This is very cool, Wes. These are the best lids for the Yeti ones. The Mag Slider, those are by far the best lids for the Yeti like cups. This is a modified magnet that goes on top of the Yeti lids that has a AirTag in it.
Nice.
It looks like it's like 3D printed basically, which is fine. And
that's the thing.
That's
3D
awesome.
printing. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just need it for a child's cup.
Yeah, just give them the military grade bulletproof AirTag cup, of course.
Yeah.
But we've run a little long today. I think maybe we'll have a little bit of a shorter show next week. I might have an iPad to show off, see how thin it is, and that'll all be fun. But good being back, Andrew. I'm glad to be on the show, and there was a lot to talk about today, and that's exciting. Always good to have the conversation flowing along.
For sure. Very busy episode. Let us know what you guys think. Do all the stuff that you guys do. Give us 5, 10, 100-star reviews on your podcast app of choice. Check out the video version at youtube.com/HomeKit Insider. Thank you to Zocdoc and FastGrowingTrees.com for sponsoring this episode. And we'll catch you guys next time.
See y'all then.